YouTube. It's about 12:10. Yes, a little later than my normal morning because I've got SeaTac Elementary to teach indoor skydiving to again our SeaTac SOAR program. So I'll be late. I'll be there late tonight. But yeah, you see in the topic and the subject headline there, the title. You know, I put in there obviously the DriveStream, today's date, the DriveStream, and then something I want to talk about a little bit is our demotions. And what's up with that, right? Did I get demoted? Did I experience a recent demotion, or am I faced with demoting someone? You know, it's like, what's up with that? Well, it's simply because I read an article this morning, and for those of you that do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I am not a Jiu-Jitsuist. I don't do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. My son recently started doing that. Missing Kids, good morning. Brett, good morning. Thanks for hanging out. I did not take promotion, you know, or demotion, but I read an article this morning about how one student, I guess it was in Europe, how a student who was promoted to, I guess, brown belt in one dojo or one school, and when he returned or went back to his original school that got him started in jiu-jitsu, his old/new coach demoted him back down to purple belt. And he accepted it. But I guess that went viral because they filmed the demotion. They put it on YouTube, and you know, a lot of times it's like when people do these negative things, like in the drone flying world, right? Someone recently did some stupid stuff, which I guess are against the FAA, but he did it on purpose, and he was just being, you know, he's probably doing it for the views. Regardless, I don't know. I don't follow him on a regular basis. I mean, I watch his videos, but I'm not on there all the time. I find that some of the content doesn't necessarily I don't enjoy, but that's, you know, that's for everyone to decide what they want to, how they want to spend their time and such, you know. But point is, one moment, guys. Do I have a fire? Okay, he's going the other way. Point is, this guy, you know, he accepted a demotion from his old/new coach. So in other words, the coach that got him into or taught him how to jiu-jitsu. Oh my gosh, I'm burning up right now. It's 49 degrees out here. It's sunny, it's beautiful. I might actually get on the roof and try to fly when I get to work. I want to do a comparison between the various ND filters that I got. But demotions, going back to that, you know, the dude accepted the demotion from brown belt to purple belt, and as a result of that, you know, and this has been happening most recently in the jiu-jitsu world where people are getting demoted. You know, it's been an uproar, but you know what? What business is it of other people's to say, hey, that's wrong or that's right? You know, I mean, here I am talking about it also. But from a standpoint of, if one accepts the demotion, then they accept the demotion. I mean, if he didn't want to accept the demotion, he could have returned to his other school and kept his brown belt, right? But I guess it's from a standpoint of one accepting and being accountable for themselves, and that's what it's all about. I mean, if they say, you know what, he trusts his coach, his jiu-jitsu coach, and he respects him. He respects him so much that, hey, I don't think that you actually are at the level of brown belt that you should be, or a brown belt, that you qualify, that you meet the minimum requirements to be a brown belt. And maybe there's something else that we're just simply not aware of, why one was demoted to purple belt from brown belt in jiu-jitsu. And again, I don't know the nuances of it all, you know. I mean, I've got a black belt in several martial arts, but do I, you know, if I were to return there, would I take a demotion? I probably won't, mostly from a standpoint of, well, I don't know. Maybe I would. Maybe I should, because I'm not at the standard of what a black belt should be according to that school, that train of thought. So that comes down to personal accountability, whether or not one wants to accept that demotion for one. You know, I mean, and that, you know, we're talking about jiu-jitsu. What about at work or qualifications? Because we do have a level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 flight instructor levels at iFly Virginia Beach. This is an International Body Flight Association qualification and requirement to be a flight instructor. To be a flight instructor that can instruct and coach various skills in the wind tunnel. I am a level 2 flight instructor. If I were to become a level 4 instructor in the future, but however, I could not perform the duties, the responsibilities, the safety aspect of a level 4 instructor, meaning, teaching someone and providing, a safe spot for people that are learning how to fly flyers level 4 skills, as in flying upside down, so head down as opposed to head up. You've seen me fly like that before. But yeah, I should be demoted from level 4 to level 3 or level 2, depending on what, the person that I respect, my chief flight instructor and or my IBA examiner, chief of safety and training at iFly Virginia Beach. If they say, hey, you're not performing to the standard of what a level 4 should be, we need to bring you down, and or provide me with the training and knowledge and skills, or continue education or, refresher for those skill levels. But if I can't meet the minimum requirements to do that, I should not be a level 4 instructor, even though I earned it in the past. Those are currency qualifications. Jiu-jitsu, I would submit as a currency qualification. If you're driving down the road, we all have driver's licenses, right? And you get a ticket, and you get one too many tickets. Clearly, you're not safe anymore. So what does the government do? What does the state do? They take away your driver's license until you can retake the test, go through the training and education, and demonstrate your safety as a licensed driver. So I guess that's the same thing from that standpoint, But this one guy's opinion, that's all it is. Because for one, I don't even jiu-jitsu. I just happen to read it, and I'm kind of into jiu-jitsu again because my son is doing jiu-jitsu. It's funny when he participates in a sport or activity, like, oh, maybe I'll try it out also. Like with rugby. I was looking and researching up, local rugby teams here, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll play. Both my wife and son said no. I've had one too many head injuries, and another one could be a bad thing. So I will not be doing rugby, and I probably will not be doing jiu-jitsu, although it's kind of like wrestling, which I'm good at. And I learned a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but that's not my sport. So yeah, that's what this was all about. That's what the topic was all about. This article that I read, I just wanted to chat about it because it's been on my mind ever since I read it this morning. That was at 7 a.m. and I thought, oh, I want to talk about that a little bit. I want to hear what your thoughts are on that, of course. But yeah, apologies. I'm just ranting away, not paying attention to the chat. So there are no vehicles around me except for this vehicle that's about to pass, so I'll have a chance to at least look and see what is going on there. But could the student not perform proper kata? Is that a thing in jiu-jitsu? You know what, Brett? I'm not sure. And you know what? That's between the coach, his sensei, his teacher, the master, the owner of that dojo. And this is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so that escuela, right? So, well, actually, Brazil is Portuguese, right? Portuguesa. But I would submit that a promotion is between that master and that student. The Jedi and the Padawan. That's between the two of them. That's between me as a level 2 flight instructor and my chief flight instructor and chief of safety and training at iFly Virginia Beach. If I don't meet the minimum requirements and I am not trainable, or if I'm demonstrating a level of proficiency that is below the standard, that's cool. I mean, I'm not gonna walk into a karate dojo with my taekwondo black belt. Be like, yo, I'm a black belt in taekwondo. I should be a black belt in karate do also, right? In Miyagi do, or in the Cobra Kai. You know, I mean, it's one of those things where I have to demonstrate that I am in fact a Cobra Kai black belt. And how do you do that? Fighting, training, doing the thing, right? And so maybe that's what I'll look at doing in the future. Get my black belt in Cobra Kai. The real Karate Kid. So, all right, let's see here. Caloy Mix official vlog. Thanks for joining as well. Thumbs up. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. But yeah, short drive in today. Quick because there's no traffic virtually, with the exception of what we experienced a few moments ago. But yeah, demotions, they can occur, and it's also dependent on the student also whether or not they accept it. They don't have to accept it. They could say, I'm going to go back to my old school so that I don't take a demotion because I like my brown belt. But again, there's a level of integrity and accountability that exists there. And if someone is saying, hey, that is an expert, that's a master in that craft, hey, you're not quite there, but and you've fallen way off to the side, we need to bring you back down a notch to bring you back up. And sometimes that while a humbling experience, it should be a humbling experience if one takes a demotion to say, all right, what can I do to be better? What do I need to do to re-earn my brown belt, my qualification? If that person happens to be I'm not sure how Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu works, but if you are disrespectful to your fellow classmates and teachers, I don't think that they would promote you in martial arts, because loyalty, respect, honor, those are all part of a martial art as well. And so one must have that to promote as well. It's not just respect in the dojo, but respect and service outside of. At least that's how it was in my taekwondo. Dojang, Korean they call it dojang, right? So let's see. What are you talking about? You got a big blurb there, Brett. Give me a moment. Let me get to a red light so I can read what you wrote. All right. Let's see. Ironically, a team lead just did that to another customer service rep at my work last week. Knocked them down a notch in title as they were not performing. Yeah. If they're not performing, they're not performing. If they, and at a minimum, they're lucky to still be a part of the team. If one can't perform and we give them chance and chance and chance again, and they can't pick up the skill, then one has to be terminated even. From a work perspective, at least he's given them the opportunity to fix himself, yeah? And is stepping down from one position of authority to being a nug, a demotion also. Sometimes that's a good thing, right? Because they're just not a good leader, right? And they don't want to be a leader. They want to just be a worker and a follower. And that's okay too. In fact, something that I've always said and that I learned years ago, in order to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower first. In fact, it's not just follower first, but as a leader, one can follow still. And does that mean one is always leading from the front? Not necessarily. It depends on the situation. One can also lead from the rear, as funny as that sounds. In the military, there are times when it was ideal to lead from the front, follow me, charge into battle, right? And sometimes it's, all right, leading from the rear so that I can see the big picture and direct, where things need to go, where assets need to go, where the assets need to get positioned in the battle space, But everybody gets a trophy. That's funny you say that. The participation trophy. Yeah. So my son, he wrestled this week, or he He had his first jiu-jitsu tournament this weekend, and he doesn't really care about the medals. He cares about, the mano y mano, the battling, the battleground. And so he goes, yeah, guaranteed medal. And it was the first time for me to hear him say everybody gets a medal. And I think it was just saying that in jest, because it's that participation medal, which I've never told him that it was okay to have. I've always told him, hey, be excellent in everything you do. Be number one. And sometimes he's number one, sometimes he's not number one, and that's okay too. But it is important to strive to be the best, and that's what I've, for lack of a better term, trained him to do and be, to be the best, to be number one in everything. Because at a minimum, you're shooting for the stars, and if you fall short, guess what? You're still in the sky. You're still among the stars. You've not reached the star. Right? But yeah, that's how it is these days, right? Everybody gets a participation award. That's okay. That's okay. That's how it is, and we adapt to how it is. Of course, there's still that first, second, and third. Whoever, or as far as I'm concerned, who's the best? Who's the first? I've always, as weird as it sounds, I'm not to say that I'm an elitist, but I've always strove to be the best. Sometimes I fall short, sometimes I'm number one, like, I mean, in boxing, for example, that I would submit that was one sport, that I did really well at. I mean, for 2 years in college, I went undefeated. I was a 2-time national boxing champion, and it was one of those things where I actually heard this from one of my classmates, and it's stuck with me then when he told it to me. We're sitting in a mechanical engineering class, Britton Smith, and he goes, yeah, he's a swimmer. He goes, when I'm on that starting block about to jump in the water, I think to myself that I'm number one, that I'm the best swimmer here of all the swimmers. And sometimes he's not. Sometimes there are people that are faster than him, but that's what he would visualize and envision and think of himself as. And I thought to myself, all right. And I took that to heart, and I've taken that with me in a lot of things that I do. And yeah, I think that was our sophomore year, and my junior year I went undefeated, and senior year I went undefeated in boxing at the collegiate level, which was great. MP Longo Mix TV, thanks for joining as well. Well, I am at work now. I'm technically not, don't have to actually start working until a little bit, but I'm gonna get upstairs and see what's on my desk, so that I can either work on what's on my desk, if you will, or get airborne with the drone. And if I do, well, I'll be live streaming that also for you guys. But thank you so much for hanging out, for listening to me rant a little bit, and I will talk to you guys later on. Have a great day, YouTube.